Ah! Ah! Oh shit, my hand! Ah! Cap's mighty shield never lets you down. Captain America the Winter Soldier, directed by Anthony Russo and Joe Russo, the Russo Brothers, the awesome team behind Civil War and Infinity War, and is the second and middle movie in the Captain America trilogy, ninth installment in the MCU overall, and the third in Phase 2. So Winter Soldier tells the story after Cap is taking a break from the Avengers. He, in his spare time, works for S.H.I.E.L.D. Alongside Black Widow until he is framed for the assassination and attempted murder of Nick Fury, and he and Black Widow are on a mission to declare his name during the Hydra uprising, and as if that personal drama to deal with wasn't enough, he must also face the deadly unknown assassin known as the Winter Soldier, hence the title of the movie, who may have a history with Cap. You don't need me to tell you that the Winter Soldiers are awesome. Anybody can see that Winter Soldier kicks First Avenger in the arse as a sequel, and it is the first great standalone MCU movie since Incredible Hulk. Is it perfect? In my eyes, not exactly, but I am on the same boat with the diehard Winter Soldier fans. This as a Captain America movie and as a Captain America sequel, it excels and is still a badass and sweet movie. So let's immediately get to my positives, since I have so much love to reward one of the greatest superhero sequels ever freaking made. Chris Evans as Captain America in this movie, perfect. Absolutely perfect. This is a personal movie for him. I mean, he's not only having to cope with living in our era, since he's a World War II soldier. Living in present day, it's alien to him, but he's framed for the murder of his boss. He discovers that the assassin who's on his ass is actually his best buzz, but through it all he faces it head on. He's extremely badass, especially in the fight sequences. He literally just tosses his mighty shield like a frisbee, just taking out dudes, and this movie symbolizes Cap's shield as the most rad thing in Marvel ever to exist. And Chris Evans, he went from Johnny Storm in Fantastic Four to Steve Rogers in Captain America. In this movie, he's what I wanted him to be in First Avenger. He becomes my favourite male Avenger, and as well as his movie, this is also Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow's movie. She has never been better in the entire MCU than she is in Winter Soldier. Her and Cap, they go on a mission, and they have such a convincing friendship. She rescues his ass several times in this movie. Thank God they didn't give these two a cliched love story. They're just two best friends. She's excellently written here, and if I ever work for S.H.I.E.L.D., I'd love to be selected for a mission accompanied by Black Widow. S.H.I.E.L.D. is totally destroyed in this movie. It by the end of this movie, it doesn't exist anymore. So you're like, holy shit, that was dark. They literally took S.H.I.E.L.D. out of the picture, and that is a mature setup leading into Age of Ultron. This movie in Civil War shows that the Captain America movies aren't afraid to be darker by MCU standards. That's what makes the Captain America movies the most mature and sophisticated trilogy in this franchise. Finally, an MCU review where I can give props to the villain rather than criticize him or her, because Bucky, he kicks ass. He's a stupendous MCU villain in this movie. Technically a half villain, since the twist that the Winter Soldier turns out to be Bucky all along. Cap's Paula from World War II. He's literally Marvel's Darth Vader. So when Cap discovers this, it hits him hard. Bucky might as well have just said, "No, Steve, I am your pal," and Cap is like, what the fuck have you been doing with your life? Are the action sequences as mind-blowing as fans make them out to be? Fuck yeah. Winter Soldier has some of the most fucking awesome and amazingly satisfying action scenes in a superhero movie, period. Great to see a blockbuster in the 2010s still incorporates stunt work into action. This movie harbours back to the classic fist fights of James Bond and Indiana Jones, and especially the elevator sequence. That is my second favourite action scene in the Captain America trilogy, second only to the amazing airport battle from Civil War. And arguably the least talked about character in this movie is Emily Van Camp's Agent 13. You may recognise Emily Van Camp as Emily Thorne / Amanda Clarke in the TV show Revenge. I don't care that her screen time is limited in this movie, as she's important, as in Civil War she turns out to be the great niece of Peggy, Cap's love interest from First Avenger, and the fact... And the moment when Cap visits older Peggy in this movie, that was emotional, and the fact that they actually brought in Peggy's great niece into the sequels also. She adds some legitimate heart to this movie. Even though that's a little creepy that Cap is crushing on and dating his love interest's great niece, he's technically her great uncle. It would be even more awkward and creepy if he got her pregnant, but it's still a great emotional touch. The Russo Brothers direction, top notch. These two both love Captain America passionately, and finally they are honouring the character. This is the first movie, because of their direction, where the character is taken seriously. For this movie, the character was a parody. It may seem that this movie has everything going for it, yet I don't see it as the flawless masterpiece or greatest MCU movie ever, as most would say. As for my few negatives, this is controversial to state, but I'm not a fan of the Falcon. Don't care for him. He's nothing but eye candy. Granted, he's at his most tolerable in this movie, but in the rest of the MCU, I barely even noticed he was there, and Nick Fury faking his death in this movie and then returning in Age of Ultron. Who agrees with me in the comments section that that's bad writing? Seriously, why not just kill off Nick Fury in this movie? That would have been a ballsier decision. If Nick Fury had died and nobody had given that away, that would have been ambitious indeed. And what else does Nick Fury do for the rest of the MCU? Nothing. his journey has been completed in this movie. It would make more sense to just kill him off. Those problems, though I had to address them, don't detract from this awesome sequel in any way, shape or form. The Winter Soldier is still what The Dark Knight was to Batman Begins as far as sequels go. It does everything a sequel is supposed to do, and can we all agree the Russo Brothers should have just directed First Avenger? Then we'd have a near perfect trilogy. This may not be my all-time favourite MCU movie as it is for some. I know of it's Technodrome's favourite MCU movie. I slightly favour Civil War, but whether or not you think a Winter Soldier or Civil War is better, we're all in agreement that Winter Soldier rocks. I give Captain America the Winter Soldier 4 stars out of 5. Great movie. Come to think of it, the Captain America trilogy is the Dark Knight trilogy and Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy of the MCU, where each installment improves upon the other. I can't believe I just have 2 more MCU reviews to go until Infinity War. I am pumped. Well, I love you guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. And what do you think of Winter Soldier? Please comment and let me know. Please like this video and subscribe. Please follow me on Twitter and on Google Plus and on Instagram. And I'll see you all next time when I review Age of Ultron. And remember, movies are us. Bye, guys.